We're all told that family is everything, that in a Filipino home, the love is loud, the tables are overflowing, and the doors are always open. We're famous for our close family ties. It's a beautiful picture we show the world. But what happens when the everything they expect from you leaves you with nothing left for yourself? Because beyond the smiles and the mano po, there's a side to Filipino family life that we don't talk about. The unspoken debts, the crushing pressure, and the sacrifices that can silently break you. So let's talk about it. From the outside, the Filipino family looks like a masterpiece of harmony. From a young age, we're taught about the absolute importance of getting along and keeping relationships smooth. This isn't just about being polite, it's a core rule to avoid conflict at all costs. But this obsession with keeping the peace creates a huge pressure to put on a perfect public face. Family gatherings? They can feel more like a performance. You're expected to show up, slap on a smile, and pretend everything is fine even when it's falling apart. I'll never forget this one fiesta from my childhood. A relative had just lost their business. Everyone knew, but no one dared say a word about it. Instead, the air was just thick with forced laughter and painfully cheerful questions about everything. The giant elephant in the room, my tita, who was obviously struggling, put on the bravest face, dodging nosy questions like a pro. To anyone watching, we were just a happy, successful family celebrating. But inside, you could feel the tension, the weight of everything left unsaid. That's the hidden price of pakikisama. You learn to bury your real feelings, your problems, and your frustrations just to avoid making waves. Being honest about something negative can be seen as an attack, as destroying the peace. So, real conflicts never get resolved. They just fester under the surface, creating these deep cracks that only get bigger over time. This demand for a perfect image isn't just stressful, it's incredibly lonely. It teaches you that your true self, with all your messy problems and valid feelings, isn't welcome. Have you ever been in a room packed with relatives and felt completely alone? That's the paradox of the perfect Filipino family. We're surrounded by people, but we're not always allowed to be real. Alright, let's get into the most powerful, complex, and let's be honest, often toxic concept in our culture, utang na loob. The debt of gratitude. In its purest form, it's a beautiful thing, a way to recognize kindness and pay it forward. It's what builds community. But somewhere down the line, this beautiful idea got twisted into a weapon of lifelong obligation. For a lot of us, this debt starts the moment we're born. Our parents sacrificed everything, their time, their money, their own dreams, and we are constantly reminded of this. The message, whether it's said out loud or not, is crystal clear. We gave you life, we fed you, we sent you to school. You owe us. Suddenly, the parent-child relationship feels more like a transaction. Love starts to feel conditional, and gratitude becomes a debt that you have to spend your life repaying. Nowhere is this more obvious than with money. How many of us have heard the line, "You are my retirement plan"? It's not a joke. It's a real deep-seated expectation. Kids, especially the oldest, are often treated like financial investments who are expected to support their parents and even pay for their siblings' education. And this isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's a moral duty. If you fail to do it, you're not just selfish. You get branded as someone with no gratitude. And that's one of the most shameful things you can be called in our culture. The pressure is just immense. It leads to this crippling guilt and anxiety, and it makes it almost impossible to set healthy boundaries. You find yourself saying yes to every request for money, even when you're drowning, because the weight of that emotional debt is just too heavy. This cycle can trap you, forcing you to put your family's needs and wants ahead of your own dreams, your own savings, and your own life. I know so many of you watching have felt this exact pressure. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like you were living your life to pay back a debt you never signed up for. Let's make this a space where we can talk about it, judgment-free. If is the currency, then the eldest child is the one who pays the biggest price. In our culture, being the firstborn isn't just your spot in the family lineup. It's a job title, a heavy responsibility. You're the role model, the second parent, the emotional punching bag, and the backup ATM. Before a Pangane even learns to dream for themselves, they learn how to sacrifice for everyone else. They're often turned into little adults way too early, something people call Tagasalo syndrome, where the child becomes the family's designated catcher for every single problem. It robs them of a real childhood and forces a kind of maturity that comes at a huge personal cost. The unspoken rules are suffocating. You have to be strong, but never show you're struggling. You have to be responsible, but never complain. You're expected to pave the way for your younger siblings, even if it means losing your own path. This sacrifice is always framed as love, and it is. The love an eldest child has for their family is unbelievably deep, but it's a love that's often given without any rest and without being returned in the same way. This pressure is even heavier for eldest daughters, who are expected to do all the emotional work on top of the financial duties. It's a crushing double burden. They become the family peacemakers, the keepers of everyone's well-being, the silent pillars holding everything and everyone up. The result? Often a lifetime of anxiety, a shaky sense of self, and a quiet sadness for the life that could have been. You're celebrated as the family's strength, but who's there to catch you when you're the one who falls? Hearing all this can feel really heavy, and it is. It's a weight that has been passed down for generations, mostly in silence. The clash between these old-school expectations and the modern world's focus on individual dreams and mental health has torn a lot of families apart. Younger generations are starting to push back, not because they don't respect their elders, but out of a desperate need to save themselves. So what do? We can start by understanding that setting boundaries isn't rebellion. It's self-love. It's not about rejecting your family, it's about rejecting toxic transactional relationships. It's about teaching people how to treat you and taking back your right to have your own life, your own dreams, and your own definition of success. Look, this process is hard. It means having the kind of open, honest conversations our culture has taught us to run away from. It means saying no, and then learning to sit with the guilt that will probably show up. It means realizing that you can love your family with all your heart and still refuse to be their emergency fund or their therapist. You can be grateful for everything your parents did for you without signing up for a lifetime of repayment. That postcard image of the super close-knit Filipino family is beautiful. But it's not the whole story. It's incomplete. It doesn't show the quiet anxiety, the hidden debts, or the personal dreams that get sacrificed for the sake of family obligation. But talking about these darker, more complicated truths doesn't mean we love our families any less. Actually, it's the first step toward building healthier and more honest relationships. It's about shifting from obligation to choice, from debt to real, genuine gratitude, from silent suffering to open communication. It is totally possible to challenge these toxic patterns and still honor the deep, powerful love that holds our families together. It's about redefining family loyalty, not as a cage that holds you in, but as a foundation that gives every single person the freedom to fly. Thank you so much for being here and for listening. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear this. Let's keep this conversation going in the comments and support each other on this journey. You're not alone.